Welcome to a new fantasy adventure on Dreamscape. Experience the captivating story of Daeron, the gifted young archer who defends his remote mountain village against a superior force of cruel Mardukai. This short story takes us into a world of bravery and sacrifice, where a hero makes even the impossible possible. The biggest gesture you can give me is a like. If you like my stories, feel free to leave a subscription and activate the bell so you don't miss any more stories. Well then, let's dive into the story. The Archer of Kamir. In the misty mountains of northern Eldaria, the remote village of Kamir has been hidden for eons. Here lived the young archer Daeron, who even at a young age was one of the most talented archers in the land. Every day he practiced his art with bow and arrow, so that his hand never trembled and his sight remained true. The people of Kamir lived peacefully by raising cattle and farming. But lately unrest had come to the tranquil mountain world. More and more often, travelers were attacked on the roads, cattle were stolen from the stables and fields were devastated. Those who escaped the attackers reported cruel creatures, half man, half predator, who fell upon the victims like shadows, only to disappear into the mist. They were called the Mardukai, dreaded creatures, half wolf, half demon, who hunted humans at night. One morning, a delegation from Kamir rode to the king's seat in Alcaris to ask for help against this plague. But the Mardukai struck mercilessly even before the riders reached the city. Only one survivor, young Daeron, returned to Kamir badly wounded. Dark despair spread, for it was now clear that the villagers would have to stand against the Mardukai on their own. Then Daeron stood before the village elders.
The Mardukai are powerful, but they are no match for bows and arrows. Let me fight them.
At first, they did not want to drag the youthful archer into this great danger. But the villagers had no choice. So they prepared to defend Kamir. Daeron took his trusty bow archer and occupied a lookout post at the edge of the village. As night fell, the villagers gathered anxiously in the center of the village. Suddenly fog rose from the woods and horrible howls were heard. Then the Mardukai went on the attack. Their claws and teeth flashed in the moonlight as they roared and charged toward their prey. Daeron caught archer with a steady hand. Arrow after arrow he sent toward the monsters. Each shot was deadly, but the Mardukai were numerous. More and more entered the village, where desperate battles raged. Suddenly Daeron shouted,
"Daeron! They are coming from the fields! There are women and children there!"
Immediately Daeron recognized the trap. Parts of the Mardukai had satiated themselves on the fighting in the village core and were now attacking the weakest. Quick as a flash, Daeron rushed to the village exit and saw the silhouettes of the Mardukai in the distance, dragging their victims into the mist. The young archer put on 3 arrows at once and took a deep breath. He had never shot at such a distance before. Then he let them fly. A blood-curdling howl was heard as all 3 projectiles found their target. The fog cleared, revealing several dead Mardukai dropping their prey. The survivors fled into the woods. Thanks to Daeron's skill, Kamir had triumphed that day. And long afterward, the legend was told of the archer who had killed 3 Mardukai at once with a single shot. His courage and mastery had saved the village. Although the Mardukai had been defeated that night, the danger to Kamir remained. Again and again the creatures attacked, though never as fiercely as the first time. Daeron now patrolled the outskirts of the village every night to protect the inhabitants. One evening, however, the young archer did not return from his watch. Worried, the villagers went in search of him. They found Daeron lying badly injured and unconscious on the edge of the misty mountains. Apparently, he had fought to the last arrow against a superior force of Mardukai before being struck down by one of the beasts. The boy was immediately taken to the village healer. He treated the numerous wounds and gave him herbs against the poison of the Mardukai claws. For a long time the villagers feared for Daeron's life, while feverish dreams tormented him. But the young fighter was strong and his spirits unbroken. After many moons, he finally awoke. It took Daeron a long time to regain his strength. But he did not rest until he could handle bow and arrow again. He trained doggedly to be ready for the next confrontation with the Mardukai. Then one night the inevitable happened, the beasts attacked again. This time there were even more than the first time, a whole army. Daeron fought them off single-handedly, but there were just too many of them. Slowly he and the defenders were pushed back. Suddenly, the last light in Kamir's windows went out. Darkness descended on the village the Mardukai had taken it. With a cry of rage, Daeron shot one of his last arrows. He had to stop the beasts, even if it meant his certain death. But at that moment a miracle happened. Many lights appeared in the night sky, rapidly approaching. They were the beacons of hundreds of warriors from Alcaris. The king had received a distress call from Kamir after all and sent his army. Together with the experienced soldiers, Daeron and the villagers drove the surprised Mardukai into flight. It was a heroic victory. And not least Daeron's selfless effort had saved the village. To this day, the bard sings songs about the legendary archer of Kamir.